So welcome to today's video. Now today I am in Stockton-on-Tees. This is my hometown and I'm going to take you on a little history tour, tell you about my experiences of this place and obviously the rise and the decline of the town itself. So if you want to join me, as always, get your shoes on, get your coat on and let's have a little wander around Stockton-on-Tees. Let's go. So there has been archaeological findings of human remains and things like that and artifacts that date back to the Mesolithic era, which is about 8,000 years ago. So Stockton has been sort of a thriving little place since then. Also there's been Roman settlements here as well. But where I'm stood here used to be where the Stockton Castle was situated. I'm not entirely sure exactly when it was built, but I do know it has been written in books that it was there around about 1376. I'm just checking my notes here. Apart from that, during the Civil War, the Scottish ended up capturing the castle in 1644, and they resided in there for a couple of years before Oliver Cromwell decided to raze it to the ground. We're not too sure though. There's a bit of debate over whether Oliver Cromwell asked for it to be demolished or whether it was just demolished because it was in a bit of a bad state. We don't know, but most things I've read are stating that it was Oliver Cromwell asked for the castle to be razed to the ground. Now, since then, there have been housing over there because of the riverway, the port, so there was housing near there, and from then there was the Castlegate Centre was built here in 1976, all along here. So that was built in 1976 and that had a variety of shops. Also inside it had marketplaces in there, little market stalls and things like that. And then that was updated, I think around 1995, a bit of a facelift on it. I think the market stalls and things were taken out and big name shops were put in there, but you had names like Upton's, you had Woolworths, and then obviously Couplands and sort of butchers like Marley's and things like that there. Around this sort of area would have been John Walker Square. Now John Walker was a big name in Stockton. If you'd have seen my Norton video, I mentioned him there because his grave is actually in Norton. But over the road there where the Shea Bar, I don't know if you can see it, I'll go over there in a moment. But Shea Bar is 59 High Street. Now two things were at that particular establishment there. John Walker opened a chemist in there and a druggist sort of establishment, and while he was in there he was messing around, he was messing around with chemicals and things like that, and he dried the chemicals, and when he sort of struck them against sort of sandpapery, sort of a rough surface, it sort of made a spark and lit, and which was the invention of the friction match. So if you look at history in Stockton, you'll see John Walker and that establishment of the first ever friction match. A bit of fantastic information for you there. Right, okay, so I'm just looking at my notes, I've said all that. Right, I'm going to go over the road to Shea Bar. It's closed, but I'll go over there and I'll tell you a bit more about that building in a moment. So I'll see you in a minute. So I'm outside Shea Bar. Now before it was a bar, obviously it was John Walker's chemist, but in 1947 this shop opened and it was called Leslie Brown's, and inside it was basically just a sweet shop, a toy shop, a games shop, a music shop. You could get train models, it was a joke shop. It had so much in there, and if you were around between 1947 and 1991, no doubt you would have passed this shop and had to go in. It was an amazing place, and personally I think when this shop closed in 1991, it was the decline of Stockton, because after that everything seemed to go a bit downhill. But yeah, I love that place. I'll put some pictures of Leslie Brown's on the screen now, and you can see it just had sort of lights outside, it had sort of rides outside, and when you went in it had just everything you could possibly think of for boys and girls, for man and boy, for women as well. It was just everything for the entire family in there. It was just a joy to be in. Anyway, I'm going to show you a couple of places down here, so let's continue the journey of Stockton. Let's go. So right next to me here is called the Shambles. It was built in 1699 and it was basically a place where butchers went to cut their meat and sell their meat. And then it was demolished in 1821. And this one you can see here was built in 1825. Now, back in sort of when this one was the old one was demolished in 1821, there was talks about making a temporary structure where they could take it down and move it, so that obviously they had more space here for the markets. But then I think the councils and things like that were talking about making it a permanent structure, but also making it 8 and 9 feet sort of longer, which the town people didn't like. There was a bit of uproar on it, and they started to build it anyway. And then what happened, townspeople as well as some of the workers came over and started smashing it down. They ended up breaking down the foundations and everything and broke it down. 14 people of them were arrested, but after a amount of time it was thrown out of court and they were set free. But then this was built in 1825, and it now houses hairdressers and a few inn shops. I think there's an antique place in there as well, and there's public toilets down the far end. And over in this area here, you can see the market cross and the town hall. So let's go and see that. A townhouse has existed on this site perhaps as far back as the 1100s. The current town hall you can see here was built in 1735. Now the town hall can claim one particular spot in history. A dinner was held here in 1810 to celebrate the new opening of the new cut in the River Tees that Leonard Rainsbeck, recorder of Stockton, first suggested either a railway or a canal to link Stockton with the interior country. The result, opening 15 years later, was the famous Stockton and Darlington Railway, and on September 27th of that year, a celebratory dinner took place in this town hall after George Stephenson had driven its opening train into the town. Now Stockton has a world record of being the widest high street in Europe, I believe it is. And yeah, where I'm standing now, there used to be a road coming all the way along, parallel to the one that's just over there. I can't remember exactly when it was, probably in the 90s. They ended up sort of paving all of this instead. And then over here we've got the fountain, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. In the summer months, you can, I'll take you down there now and show you. But when you go down here, there's some little jets that fly out of those little silver holes down there. But yeah, there's like a little seating area that goes all the way around here. And most of the time, when it's the summertime, there's families coming in, the kids are running through it all. But unfortunately, when it comes to Stockton-on-Tees, there are a lot of drug users that are here. Apparently, it's the second most dangerous place in Durham, apparently. So the crime rate's quite up. But there are, I was trying to do a film over there, but there's a lot of swearing. Obviously, I'm a family channel. I don't want swearing on my channel, and there was drug use there, so I don't really want to be showing that on YouTube. I want to keep it positive, my channel. But yeah, it's Stockton has declined a lot. I mean, they've knocked down, obviously over there was a massive shopping centre over there. They've knocked that down to the ground, and that's basically going to be like a little park area. I'll show you some pictures of what that's going to look like. And over in this direction, there used to be sort of shoe shops and stuff, and business buildings over there. They knocked that down and paved over that as well. And then all of this area that I'm walking on now used to be a road going all the way along, and now it's basically just paved over, and all the shops are just turning into either charity shops or vape shops. But this little building I'm going to show you now is the Stockton Flyer. So this is the Stockton Flyer. It's basically a steampunk sculpture based on the highly stylised Stephenson type locomotives such as the Locomotion No. 1 or the Stephenson's Rocket. It was designed by a sculptor, Rob Higgs, and it was unveiled in 2016 and commemorates Stockton's important links to the history of railways. Now, this little building you can see here, the sculpture actually emerges from a plinth every day at 1 PM. It blows its whistles and emits puffs of smoke. So I've come over here in the shade. The Stockton Flyer is just over the road there. I've also come over here because the crackheads were swearing their heads off and shouting and screaming. Not something you want to see on my video, and I don't really want to attract that sort of attention on my channel. But yeah, during the market, start of the market, which was 13:10, the entire high street length would have had stalls all the way from where I started the video to where the town hall is, just over there, and all the way up to where the Globe is, just in the distance. I'll show you the Globe in a minute. But there used to be stalls all the way down the middle of there, but there also were stalls on this side as well as over the other side where Couplands and the likes are. There was just such a thriving marketplace here, obviously from 1310 up until maybe the 90s, and all the shops were thriving. I can't even remember any shops that were closed when I was a kid, but sort of all the shops were thriving, the market was thriving. I used to come on a Saturday with my gran. I don't know about the markets on a Wednesday, but on a Saturday there was just hundreds and hundreds of people here shopping for all sorts of things, going down into the Castlegate Centre. You get your Marley's meat, and then obviously you had all of your linen, you had all of your poultry and meats and things on here. You had all of your sort of DIY stuff, clothing, anything you think of was getting sold on these markets. But the market has declined. On the Wednesdays, I think it's just sort of maybe in that little area, there's maybe about 15, 20 maximum on the Wednesdays and Saturdays. Not what it used to be. I'll put a picture on now and I can show you that, where it just, as you can see, back in the day, it was just everywhere. There was just stalls everywhere. The market was thriving. It was just a better time for Stockton, but now it seems to be on the decline. Obviously, sort of, I'm going to show you too quickly, but over the road there's just a group of wrong-uns, and there was people down just near the town hall when I was doing that bit, smoking crack pipes. Can't even speak today. Need a cup of tea. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll walk over here and I'll show you the Globe, and we'll continue around and I'll show you another bit of history that's a world's first. So don't forget to check that out in a minute. So let's go. But as you can see, there's quite a lot of, that was Costa's, there was a Furniture Direct. That massive building there used to be Debenhams, and we had over there was Marks and Spencer's. Now that's a B&M. But yeah, the shops, there's quite a lot of shops over there. There's like a phone shop that's closed, and all down there, some of the shops that used to be thriving are now sort of either a charity shop or a vape shop. And yeah, what they tend to do now is they put like stickers over the front of the windows, like advertising, or just to say welcome to Stockton, just to show that, just so you don't see in and see how derelict and how sort of everything's closed down. When, as you can see, this is a Tuesday, so it's not a market day. There's a few people scattered about, but back in the day this would have been thriving. You would have had people going in the shops, obviously with Marks and Spencer's and Debenhams being big names, and that obviously them closing, people are going to Middlesbrough now. Obviously with demolishing the Castlegate Centre, it just means that there's no shops anymore. There's Iceland over in Wellington Square, which is just over in that direction. There is a few shops around there. I'll maybe go around there in a bit. But for me personally, it's like there's nothing to bring you to Stockton. The Globe obviously sort of is bringing some big band names coming over, and it brought some great big names back in the day. But it just, there's nothing here do you know, for someone to go, oh, I'm going to go to Stockton for the day because I'm going to go to so-and-so and so-and-so. It's, no one wants to come here anymore, and now they've knocked all that down. It's not like they can bring businesses and shops in because there's nowhere to put them, because they're just knocking everything down. But anyway, enough negativity. Here is a bit of positivity. The Globe, which was obviously sort of a major thing back in the day. The Beatles have played there, the Rolling Stones have played there, and they've managed, it cost a fair bit of cash, but they've managed to recreate it and get it back to what it originally looked like. So I'll show you that now, right here. So this is the Globe. It was first built in 1913. It was the first purpose-built cinema, and then it was demolished in 1925 before being rebuilt in 1926, showing the area's first talking pictures. It was rebuilt again in 1935, designed as a leading variety theatre and cinema with a capacity of 2,372. The Globe became an ABC cinema in 1938, although live performances continued with pantomime, ballet and West End shows. Between 1950 and 1970, ABC Theatre hosted famous acts such as Buddy Holly, Chuck Berry, Cilla Black, Guy Mitchell and the Beatles, who played there twice. The Rolling Stones performed there many times. Cliff Richard composed music for Summer Holiday here, as well as the song Stars Fell on Stockton. In 1970s, saw such acts as Status Quo, Mud, Shawaddy Waddy, Bay City Rollers, as well as the London Philharmonic Orchestra. Sadly, the Globe closed down, serving only as a bingo venue for a short time before closing for good in 1997. Talks of renovating it back to its glory day looks were in place in 2010 with a cost of £4 million. This increased to 27.9 million and reopened in 2021. Now the building you can see here is a Grade 2 listed building. So this is the Stockton Parish Church. A lovely building. Not entirely sure when it was built. I'll put that in the bottom part there. But I've been here a few times. There's various events going on that have a sort of a nativity over Christmas time and over the sort of firework night and things like that tend to have little things going on. And when Stockton has events, they tend to open its doors and have little musical events in there. They tend to have places where you can get something to eat or maybe just a hot chocolate. My God, that sun's bright. But yeah, I'm just going to head round this way and then go towards a riverway and then head towards somewhere that is world famous for Stockton. A bit of positivity for you. And hopefully I won't get robbed by crackheads, which are over there. Trying to do a video, you wouldn't believe how long this video's taken, because every time I'm trying to do a little piece to camera, someone will walk past and swear and completely ruin it. Or ask me for, "Hey mate, have you got 20 pence?" No, you haven't. Go away. Don't mind giving to homeless people, but when you've just seen them smoking crack, that's the last thing you need to give them money. Unbelievable. But yeah, Stockton Parish Church for everybody. So I've decided to head over in this direction rather than going straight down to the river, mainly because there was swearing crackheads around me and it was doing my head in, to be honest. But yeah, the church that I was just at a moment ago is just over there, as well as the Globe. Around this area is Splash. There's a nice little family place where you can go. It's got flumes, I think that's what they're called, the slides. There's Hampton by Hilton, a hotel just around this corner if you wanted to stay there, if you did want to venture to Stockton. And the police station is just over there. That's why I came over here, because I know for a fact that those types won't be over here because of the police. But yeah, the mental thing of these people that are around here, and obviously they might have bad backgrounds and all that, I don't know, but what I can judge them on is smoking crack pipes while there's little kids walking around, which is horrible. But my wife and son and I were walking around here before, and the police have got a lockup. When bikes are stolen and recovered, they get put in like a lockup where it's joined to the police station, and there was two crackheads trying to break into that to steal the bikes. What sort of mental person would break into a police station? That's Stockton for you. But yeah, so as I say, there's a Splash around here, and there's a lovely place if you just want to come for a cup of tea, a quiche, jacket potato, scone, those sort of meals, just some light bites where it's, you know for a fact it's going to be all calm and nice. The staff in there are lovely. It's called the Stockton Tabernacle. It's just over in this direction, and I'll show you now. So the Stockton Tabernacle is just this building here. It's joined onto the church itself, and you can go in there. You don't need to be religious or anything like that, and they serve some lovely food. The staff are lovely. You can get yourself a nice cappuccino and a cheese and onion quiche right in that building there. I won't go too far because obviously the sun's blaring round. But yeah, you can go in there. I'm not too sure the opening hours is probably something like 10 and 4. But yeah, it's a lovely little place just to sit, relax, and have a coffee while you're thinking of what to do. But over in this direction is where the river is, so I'll take you down there. The sun is over in that direction, so hopefully when I'm walking around here, it's not going to be glaring into the camera. So yeah, let me show you the river. So that bridge over, you can see over in the distance, that's called the Princess of Wales Bridge. I'm just on the bridge over this road here, and as I angle the camera around, you can see over there the construction work being done for this little sort of area that they're building. They're going to be building like a stage, like a workout stage apparently, and it's going to be all like a nice little greenery area with trees and grass, little seating areas and whatnot. But yeah, it was supposed to be getting finished by summer, but as you can probably see, that's not going to happen. I reckon it's going to be another 6 months to a year to get that sorted, because basically what was here, where those buildings are that you can see in the distance there used to be a multi-storey car park as well as the shopping centre at the front of it, and there was a little sort of winding spiral sort of slope where you could drive all the way up to the sort of the car park itself, and that car park went all the way to where that big building is in the distance. I don't know if you can see that on the GoPro. It's like a big building just been built there. It went all the way down to there. But yeah, so far they've built like a supporting wall going round to sort of attach to this wall, sloped wall going up, and they've managed to obviously demolish the Castlegate Centre right down, and now they're just sort of flattening it out, getting the foundations ready for certain bits and pieces. But yeah, I don't see them finishing that by I think it was by this summer it was supposed to be finished, but as you can see there, they haven't built anything yet. It's all getting flattened out. They've just more or less completed that wall, but there's another bridge over in the distance that you might be able to see there. You can see the wirings going down, but that used to go from that side all the way over. There's like stairs going down onto this little footpath here, but then it went actually right in to the Castlegate Centre itself. So I'm not too sure what they're doing with that, whether that's, I'm guessing that's going to continue on and go over to where that new build's going to be. But yeah, this is the River Tees. Behind those trees is the Teesside Princess, which what I'll do is I'll try and walk down here somewhere and get down and show you the Teesside Princess, and then we'll go on to another place which I mentioned earlier on, which is World's First, which is over in that area. But I won't tell you much now. I'll keep her in suspense. But yeah, I'm going to head back over this bridge, and do you know what? I might even go into Coupland's. I had a banana for breakfast just to keep me going to do this vlog, but I think I need some sort of a pick-me-up. Not cake, not just yet, but maybe a bacon and cheese wrap or something like that will do me fine. So yeah, I'll head on down here, back in the High Street, and then I'll go and get myself some fodder, and then we'll mooch on down the river to the Teesside Princess. I'll show you the Teesside Princess, and then we'll head on to another location, and then we'll go from there. So I will see you in a moment once I've had some sustenance. See you in a minute. That's a lovely place as well, Lulu's Gift Company. Get yourself in there, and then above there is like a cafe, tea room, and lovely staff, and they do all sorts. They do coffees and teas and cakes and sandwiches and afternoon teas if you're into that. So if you ever come to Stockton, don't fancy the Tabernacle, then Lulu's Gift Company. Get yourself up there, up the stairs, and have yourself a nice coffee. You deserve it. Have a cake as well. But yeah, so the barber shop and the jewellers there has been there since I've been a little kid. Some of these shops have changed a little bit. There's Drake, the bookshop down there, lovely little bookshop, nice people that run that. If you fancy getting yourself a book, get yourself in there. Sometimes they have celebs and the likes go in there to do book readings and signings and stuff. But check their website. I'll put the link in the description to check them out. But now I'm back in Stockton, the lovely Stockton, as you can see, with its boarded up windows, boarded up shop fronts, crackheads hanging outside the bank. Don't know what they're going to withdraw. But yeah, so yeah, Coupland's is just over here, so I'm going to go and get myself some food and then head over in that direction. So I'll see you in a moment. Oh look, they've got the fountain on, and so far the only thing that's in it is pigeons. At least they're clean pigeons. So here's another version of what it may look like when it's completed. As you can see, there's little performance areas here and over here. for the Stockton Riverside Festival. There's some seating areas. I'm not too sure whether that's just somewhere you can sit and chill out, or whether they're potentially going to have events on here that you can sit and watch. One thing I do like is they've got a lot of greenery here. There's lots more trees being planted, lots of garden area. I don't know how long that'll last with being Stockton, but it does look like there's a lot of greenery, which is good for the environment. Lots of buses and stuff going past me at the moment. But yeah, this is where the Castlegate Centre used to be, and this is where the car park used to be, with a little swirling ramp that you get to the top of it. But yeah, Finkel Street is a very historic place. Obviously there's the river. This is where the ships used to dock, and then all of the stock used to be transferred up here to the High Street where it needed to be. Obviously over time that turned into a car park instead. This is where the train line would have been, along here, running all the way along. I'll show you more about that a little later, which is over in that direction. But yeah, I'm a bit mixed. I'm mixed when it comes to this. Obviously there's a lot more greenery, so that's great to see, but obviously they've knocked down the shops and put little performance areas. Will it work? Well, no idea. Anyway, I'm going to go this way and show you something a bit more interesting. So here we have the Teesside Princess. Now it is on 2 floors, and both floors have got tables and chairs, and you can go up to the top deck. I think the top deck, there is a little bit where you can stand out in the open, but if it is raining for whatever reason, it does have a roof on, so it doesn't spoil the journey. Hello Swan. It does 80s nights, 90s nights, it does Elvis and Elton John nights, it does afternoon teas for Mother's Day and other events such as that, but it also does night events, sort of dance nights. But during the day, it goes from here, travels along the River Tees under Victoria Bridge, round to Preston Park, which is in Eaglescliffe, and then from Eaglescliffe it goes on to Yarm, and then it turns round and comes back to Preston Park, and then comes back to here and moves here. But I think it sort of travels a little way around there to turn as well, so you get to see a little bit more of that. Mind you, there's not much there because I've knocked most of it down. But if you ever come into Stockton, I'll put the web address for the Teesside Princess in the description, and you can go and check it out. And if you are here, I would recommend going on here. It's a lovely, relaxing journey just to take it from here, and you can go, as I say, to Eaglescliffe and Yarm and back again. It takes a couple of hours for the round trip, but it is definitely worth it. They do teas and coffees. I think they do like light snacks. When they do the events, I think they bring caterers in for food and things like that. But on the normal journeys, I think it's just sort of biscuits and little treats like that with your teas and coffees. But it is lovely just to go along here. Obviously you can see rows rowing around sometimes. You get to see the swans, ducks, geese and the likes, and all different things. But just the tranquility of the peace and quiet of the river. And yeah, it's very nice. Highly recommended. Now, before I take you over the road and show you a historical landmark of Stockton, I wanted to show you this. This is the Holy Trinity Church. Now the foundation stone was laid in 1834, and it was completed at Christmas 1835, but it didn't open until 1838. Now, as you can see, it's a beautiful looking church. Little gargoyles on the sides there, lovely markings, the arch windows. Obviously they've had to put fencing around now, and fencing up there to stop people climbing into it. But sadly this church closed around about 1988 or 89, and it was just left for about 2 years, and then in September of 1991 vandals broke into it, set it on fire, and obviously it just ruined it, hence being ruins. But yeah, vandals broke in and just completely destroyed it. Obviously it's just a shell of what it used to be. Unfortunately, that's why they've got the fence in here, to stop reprobates going in and doing any more damage or people living in it. But it's a beautiful thing, and I've done some drone footage, so I'll show you that right now. So the road behind me is called the 1825 Way, and if that hasn't given you a clue of what I'm about to show you, maybe the sculpture that we're walking past right now will give you an even bigger clue, especially when I come to this little section here that mentions the Stockton and Darlington. And obviously that's locomotion number 1. So I'm going to take you over the road and I'm going to show you a historic building that started things off in 1822. So let's go. The Stockton and Darlington Railway opened on the 27th of September 1825 and was the first steam-powered public railway to carry fare-paying passengers in the world. Construction had started in May 1822 and the first piece of track was laid by company chairman Mr. Maynell here at St John's Crossing 10 days later. 3 years later, around 27 miles of track was ready to be opened. It was a culmination of 50 years of debate, false starts and rivalries. As early as 1768, business interests had commissioned a survey with the purpose of building a canal from the southwest Durham coalfield to the port of Stockton. However, it took a Quaker wool merchant, Edward Peace, to finally gather enough financial backers to form a railway company in December 1819. After 3 attempts amidst opposition from local landowners, including the Earl of Darlington, an Act of Parliament was passed allowing a railway to be built. At first it was planned that horses would pull wagons along the track, and when George Stephenson was employed to survey and build the line, he suggested that steam locomotives should be used. On the opening day, it was George Stephenson who drove the first train. His firemen on that date were brothers James and Ralph Timothy Hackworth, who became the great railway engineer, supervised the passengers. The engine that operated was called Locomotion Number 1 and had been built in Newcastle by the Stephensons. Locomotion hauled 90-ton load with 30 wagons being pulled. The train, decked out with banners, was preceded by a man on horseback carrying a warning flag. Officially, 330 people travelled on the first train, but estimates suggest closer to 600 people made the journey. Thousands of well-wishers and those hoping to see failure watched from the trackside, while some attempted to keep pace in carriages or on horseback, with the train reaching speeds of 10 to 12 miles an hour. At Darlington, some of the coal wagons were attached and the coal given to the poor. The train then proceeded to Yarm, where 2 further wagons were added. These extra wagons contained not coal, but Mr. Maynell's brass band. The arrival at Stockton was marked with a 21-gun salute. The band got off and led the procession to the town hall, where the people went to various pubs and eating houses. 102 official guests attended the grand banquet in the town hall, where no fewer than 23 toasts were drunk. So this is where the first train tracks would have been laid in May 1822, and the tracks would have been here and continued on adjacent to where the river is and onwards. So that's a little bit of history from Stockton, the start of the Stockton and Darlington Railway. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a quiet spot because the road's very, very noisy, and I'll try and summarise Stockton for you from when it began to how it is now. So I will see you in just a moment. So I've moved from the High Street and I've come over to the Tees Barrage International White Water Centre. It's not open at the moment, it's all bone dry, there's no canoes going over the white waters. But I just thought it'd be quieter and away from the riffraff. So I thought I'd summarise today's video. Now, Stockton, would I advise people to come? Probably not. It wouldn't be something where I'd say you should come to Stockton. It's got its good points. Obviously, you've got the Globe, you've got the Teesside Princess. If you're into canoes and whitewater rafting, you've got the Tees Barrage area. You've got independent shops like Lulu's coffee shop. You've got Drake's bookshop. You've got Flavours coffee shop as well. A few other places. Couplands. I'm not sponsored by Couplands, by the way. I just like their toffee Danish. But yeah, there's not a huge amount drawing people in. They've obviously got rid of the Castlegate Centre. That got razed to the ground. So a lot of shops have moved. Debenhams, Marks and Spencer's, Woolworths and Wilko's. A number of the big names that have left Stockton, which is a shame. So there's nothing bringing people in. The majority of people come for the markets, which is on a Wednesday and a Saturday, which is very small. or they end up getting the bus to Teesside Park or going to Middlesbrough instead. So nobody's really spending a lot of time in Stockton, which is a bit of a shame, but it's mainly down to the antisocial behaviour, the crime, the fighting that happens in the town, as well as the drug use, which I witnessed again today. I've recorded it, but I'm not putting it on my channel. Yeah, people were doing drugs in broad daylight, and there was kids and families going past, and I find that disgusting, but I'm not promoting that. I'm not putting that on my channel. I find it disgusting. It's bang out of order. So, yeah, there's nothing appealing to Stockton. So now when you come, it's a building site on one side, half of the other side's vape shops are closed down, and the heart of it is just gone, which is a shame, because it's got the history. You've got the Stockton and Darlington Railway. The first railway track was in May 1822, and obviously George Stephenson's rocket went along the line in 1825. You've got John Walker, who invented the match. You've got Leslie Brown's, which is a beautiful shop, an amazing shop. It was a wonderland to be in. If you're around between 1947 and 1991, you would have probably gone in there as a kid and loved the place, as I did. If you did, let us know in the comments. But yeah, just walking around the place, it's just got a bit of a black cloud going over it with the riffraff that hang around there, which is a bit of a shame. It could be great, but when I was a kid back in the sort of end of the 70s, 80s, I used to go there with my gran, and it is a completely different picture to what you see it is today. The markets went from the south to the north. The south was where I started the video, and the north is where the globe is. And there was just stalls going all the way down the centre of the High Street. There was a road either side, and there was also stalls on the pavements as well, dotted about. As well as the Castlegate Centre had like in shops, which was also indoor markets, which were thriving as well. It just seemed everywhere the shops and the markets were all thriving and doing great. And that was probably until maybe the mid-90s. Obviously the Castlegate Centre tried to get regenerated and made it look a bit more up to date, but that didn't really last a huge amount of time. Some of the shops started closing down, the market started dwindling, started halving. Now it's probably about a quarter of the High Street, if that. They sometimes have events on which brings people in. Obviously there's Halloween, Diwali, what else is there? The Christmas, they tend to have Christmas markets there. But when it comes to people coming into Stockton, what they tend to do is they come either to the market, or they tend to get the bus to Teesside Park or Middlesbrough and completely bypass Stockton because of the antisocial behaviour and the drug use that is about there. They don't probably feel safe. Obviously, the Stockport thing created a lot of chaos in the towns. Stockton was sort of affected, Middlesbrough was massively affected, so people don't tend to want to come out these days. So obviously that declines towns and stuff. But obviously it's not just Stockton that has that. A lot of towns and cities around the UK all have crime, antisocial behaviour, drug use and fighting and the likes. So I'm not solely pointing the finger at Stockton, but it is a target of that kind of behaviour, which is horrible. But it does have its plus points. Obviously it's got the history of, as I say, of the link with the Stockton and Darlington Railway. You've got the Globe, which brings in musical and comedy acts from all over the place. It's got the Teesside Princess. It's got the Tees Barrage here, if you're into whitewater rafting. There are little bits of positivity sprinkled around Stockton that you can see, and you can see the architecture. Some of the architecture is still there, which is beautiful, but there's some of the more modern, which is a bit horrid. But yeah, to summarise, would I tell people to come here? Probably not, unless you want to go to the Globe or the Teesside Princess. I would probably say come for that, but it's not something where you could spend a lot of time in Stockton. Just be careful of yourself, because there is crime. There are people that sort of shoplift and the likes, but as I say, that's everywhere. I'm not pointing the finger solely at Stockton, but it has had a great history. It was great in the 50s, 60s, 70s and 80s, but mid-90s it seems to have just declined to what it is today. If you were around in the 60s, 70s and 80s and 90s in Stockton, let us know your experience of the place. Let us know what you think of it now. Try to be sort of, don't try and swear in the comments, this is family friendly, but try and let us know your opinion of what you think of it now, what you thought of it back in the day when it was thriving with the markets and the shops and all of that jazz. What you think would save Stockton. Let us know in the comments as well. But hope you've enjoyed this video. It's it's been interesting. It's been a bit strange. I was followed across Stockton by some of the drug users because I was filming, maybe because I filmed them. They were following me around a bit, so the video is a bit slapdash in places because I was having to stop filming one place and quickly go over somewhere else to continue while they kind of did their thing. They were watching me a bit, so it made me a bit uneasy. But apparently it's the second most dangerous place in Durham, allegedly. But there is crime there, so you have to be careful. But yeah, hope you've enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments what you thought of it. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It helps my channel out massively. For those that have, thank you so much. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing. It means a lot to me. Hopefully I'll get out and do more videos in towns and cities across the UK as well, and sort of compare it to what Stockton is. They're not all the best, but try and find some positivity where you live. I'm going to go and head back home now and have a cup of tea. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. So bye-bye.